Are you ignoring Asian American history by creating a gospel-focused, possibly colorblind church? How do you incorporate a discussion on systematic racism and difference in the church? Good question. I don't think we intended to say that, although we didn't explicitly address that. We believe Asian American history is significant and important and a part of how we understand the context and the people that we ministered to. And I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I'm less interested in just a gospel-focused, or some people might say gospel-centered kind of a church where it's just all theology, as if we don't have culture that's connected to that theology. Because every theology and everything has culture. You cannot decouple that. Even though some theologians may think they can do a transcendent culture. I mean, every time you speak, you're in culture. The language you use is closely tied to culture. That's mentioned in my book. A great quote from Tim Keller. So the concept of a colorblind church is not realistic. What does happen is a specific ethnic culture dominating church. That does happen a lot. Even here in the 21st century, most of our churches are still not multi-ethnic, and that's using a measure of just 20% diversity. So if you have a church of 100 people and 81 of them or 91 of them are of one ethnicity, that's not multi-ethnic. But if you have 20 of them that are different than the dominant race, that's considered multi-ethnic. And even with that ratio, we're looking at less than 20% of American churches that are diverse. And even though society has become multicultural and diverse, churches have not. So in some ways, to answer the question of systemic racism, we have to clean house on our own turf now. I believe sociologists are right to say that churches are the last racist institution in America. Let that sink in. So how we do church is probably as important as discussing racism in other systems and institutions in society, which does exist. And some things need to be done in the church context. Some things need to be done in the political process. Some things need to be done in the community context. So not everything that affects society can just be done within the walls of the church. The church, which should be the people of God, need to leave the context of the local church to be salt and light into the world. And I believe that's where we can make a bigger difference in society outside of the church, not just inside the church, especially when it comes to racism.